Hello and thanks for stopping by. This is Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for the original Xbox, developed by BioWare and released in 2003. It was also released on the PC, iOS, and Android. This was the first in a series of Star Wars adventure games. Ultimately, there were supposed to be 3, but we only ended up with 2. Third one was cancelled somewhere along the way. But the 2 that did exist, both of them are pretty decent games. I remember this being really popular when it first came out. You become a Jedi, and basically you flash around a lightsaber. As you would imagine, people ate that up. Now, I beat this game way back twice for sure, possibly 3 times, and I'm working on it again right now. I think this game holds up, absolutely. Although, I do imagine that the PC version has some benefits over this one in terms of graphics and probably load times as well. But honestly, there's a lot to like with this Xbox version, and there are a few things that are a bit of a drag, but overall it's a great game. In terms of stuff dragging, well, there is a level cap. You can play this game to level 20, and that's it. Compared to other games, this is not a lot of levels, and let's be honest, people like to level up. It's a source of accomplishment as you play a game. But here, in this game, it's a rarity. Also, this level cap will cause you some frustrations down the road, especially the first time you play it. Basically, you start the game as a non-Jedi class, and you level up with that class. When you become a Jedi, you stop leveling your original class, and you start leveling up the Jedi class. You only have 20 levels that you can upgrade, so it's a combination of the two. So basically, if you're level 6 before you become a Jedi, you can only ever get 14 Jedi levels out of the game. Is there a cure for this? Well, kind of, maybe a little. In this game, you form a party of 3, usually. Also, the game doesn't force you to actually level up. It only forces you to level up once in the early part of the game. It's basically part of the tutorial. But after that, you can avoid leveling until you become a Jedi later in the game. Because you have a party of 3, you could leverage the remaining 2 people to get you through those early levels, because they'll be stronger than you because you'll let them level up. Ultimately, this gets you further up the Jedi path. It's totally possible to do this, and I've done it a few times. I did it during this run-through. But it does take focus and grinding, and honestly, it's probably not the best or easiest thing for you to do if this is your first time through the game. You probably want to play the game and understand how it works before you try to make it even harder on yourself by doing it this way. What else is a drag here? You have to run a lot in this game, and the maps are pretty wide open. It's not an open world game by any means, but the maps are large. Fast travel in this one is sort of limited in its usefulness. You just can't jump from place to place. You can get back to certain areas, but overall, it's not perfect in terms of fast travel. Also, unfortunately for this one, you can't physically look up and you can't jump. I would have loved to have been able to do either or both of these, especially looking up. The environment that you do see is really nice looking. I would very much like to look at more of it. Also, this game can put you in fights that last a really long time. It's not always, but sometimes. Fights where you can do barely any damage and you just have to sort of maintain and try to get yourself through it. Basically, you're trying to develop tactics to get through certain parts of the game because you'll hit certain groups that are just really difficult, and it doesn't look like there's much else you can do to get around it. You can't grind in other areas sometimes to level up. You only have 20 levels. So you have to figure out some basic tactics. Okay, you usually run in a party of 3. Now, you're going to have a whole roster to choose from. There's I think 9 total, but you can only have 3 in your party at once. Now, while you're in your party of 3, the characters you're not currently controlling are computer controlled. They'll basically follow you and they'll attack if there's a fight. The problem is that there are times you don't want them to do anything. You don't want them to fight. So, what you can do is you can press the back button on the controller. This breaks you off into solo from the group. If you press it again, you can get back into the party mode. But this is really useful. Say there's a large group ahead around a corner. You can ditch your party in one area, and as a solo player, you can run around a corner, and you can aggro one or more of the villains from a group possibly. When they start running towards you, you run away and you ditch around the corner. Usually, the entire group won't follow, maybe 1 or 2. You can drag them into an ambush, basically, where you left the rest of your party. So you race back over to your party, you rejoin the group, and whenever those villains show up around the corner, you tag team them. It's certainly easier to defeat one or two enemies as opposed to an entire group. It works. There are also a lot of great things about this game. First of all, you can make your own character. Now, you don't have a million customizations available for this one like other games, but there's a decent pool of things you can customize, I think. Also, you're becoming a Jedi. That's great. And you can choose if you want to be on the light side or the dark side of the Force. And you can play the game and make your determination as you go. You can also customize your lightsaber, and you can choose your Force powers. You can also customize your side characters if you want to. And you also switch between them on the fly as you play. You just press one button and you'll just rotate through them. You can do it in battle, out of battle, whatever. You can just rotate through them. It's pretty great. The story is also really decent here, and there's some really solid characters. As you unwind this story, you're going to learn of another story that happened before this one. And it's solid. The whole thing is solid. No complaints at all. Also, this is a really long game. This is at least 40 to 50 hours. At least. My current run-through, it took me 8 hours of save time, which ends up being probably 10 or more hours of regular playing time because you're going to die and have to restart. So, I'm 8 hours in, and that sort of basically gets you to the part where you become a Jedi. And that's kind of where the story really begins. It's a long game, and there are tons of side missions that you can perform, and you can perform them in a bunch of different ways. I imagine in this one, you need to do most of the side missions. You can't just skip them, because they get you experience, and you need all the experience you can get. So the story goes like this. Basically, you start out on a ship. You have to free and escape with a Jedi. This is a Jedi of importance. She helped turn the tide on a very important battle, some battle that happened before the story. It was a big deal. You escape the ship, and your escape pods crash on a planet. Now you have to work your way through this city to find that Jedi again, and then escape the planet. You have to find her along the way. You're going to learn how to play the game. You're going to find a really awesome looking ship, and you're going to escape the planet. And at the same time, you're being hunted by this Sith Lord, Darth Malak. The whole first section of this game is you just escaping the planet, and this took a good 7 or 8 hours of me playing, all of which, functionally, it just felt like a gigantic training level. There was no lightsaber for you to play with at this point, but you can use swords, so you have stuff you can do. After you escape the planet, you go to a Jedi Enclave, and now you train to be a Jedi. The training area for being a Jedi, that's another 3 to 4 hours at least, but you do get a lightsaber here, so it's really not that bad. After this Jedi training level, this is where the game really cracks open. We have a long way to go still, but now we have this ship, and we have a bunch of characters, and we can travel to other planets and do missions there. I have to say, it's great to walk around Tatooine. Ultimately, like most Star Wars stories, there is some sort of a big bad out there. Here, it's Darth Malak. He's a Sith Lord. And there's usually, and there is here, some sort of a mega weapon that you have to find and destroy. In this case, it's something called the Starforge. So you are bouncing around the galaxy looking for clues as to exactly where the Starforge is, solving side quests along the way and evolving your characters. When you talk to people in this game, the game utilizes branches of dialogue. It's not uncommon with games. You select which one you want, and you move forward. The dialogue you choose will affect other dialogue options down the road, and you can react in these dialogue branches different ways. You can be kind to people, or you can be kind of a jerk to people, and this will push your character down the light side of the Force or the dark side of the Force, depending on how you want to go. If you're like me, you're probably going to want to play this game at least twice. You're going to want to go down each path pretty hard to figure out what the benefits are. They both have benefits. It's interesting to see how different the game could be. Combat in this game here, it's sort of automatic. You're not just hammering buttons. Your characters are going to just do what you tell them to do, but it's sort of automatic. You could set it and forget it, but likely you're going to be tweaking your offense as you go, and you're going to be hopping between characters in the middle of a battle, because they all have different Either if you're a bunch of Jedis, they have different Jedi abilities, or maybe this one wants to use a health pack, or this one has a different effect, or a grenade. You're going to switch between all these different characters as you go. It's different, and it does take a little bit of getting used to, but it does work. I mean, being able to mix force powers into a battle is great, and to switch to somebody else that has maybe a supporting skill, it's awesome. Maybe you need health. Well, one person can heal. This person can boost. You're going to learn how to build and equip your party as you go, and you're going to have a certain way you like to play, and then based on the skills of some characters, you're going to adjust your party accordingly. In this game, you're also going to want to get comfortable saving. Saving often. Getting pushed back in this game even 10 minutes can be frustrating. I usually keep 2 save files. I keep one immediate file that I generally keep building on, and then I have one that's probably 10 or 20 minutes behind. That's usually someplace I saved in a safe area. This way, I at least have someplace I can jump back to if I happen to be saving myself out on a limb somewhere. The strength of this game, I think, is probably around the overall value of the game that's offered here. We're talking a fun game, a great story, and a really lengthy adventure. Hours. And even though there is this level cap, when you defeat a group of villains, it's really satisfying. And it's really awesome to be able to go full dark side or light side if you want. What a great idea to increase the replayability of the game. Well, that's all I have today for Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic for the Xbox. Thanks for stopping by for a look, and I'll catch you on another video.